live, and we're live on YouTube. I'm going to start the recording. And I'm also going to post on Instagram that we are live. Hello, anybody on YouTube? Yeah. For the people who watch this video at a later date, I apologize for this. Just posting on Instagram stories. Everybody, we are live on YouTube. Go to Jake Backseaters on YouTube and check it out. Now. On YouTube. All right. Here we go. Camera rolling. And let's do this. The theme song.
Oh, okay.
Should be. Let me check that.
Sure.
There we go.
Oh.
Recording in session. Get it? YouTube-ulous. David Jerusik, drummer of the Backseaters, the band that I am also in. Welcome to the Don't Start a Band podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I've been excited to do this.
25 episodes have gone by and you didn't ask me to come on. Or I didn't ask you to come on.
I think it's like a little bit of both. Like I've been like nervous about it because I'm worried I'm gonna say like the wrong thing or just not have anything good to say.
No. You're one of the smartest people I know and one of the most articulate. So
thank you.
I knew that this one had to be a good one.
Thanks.
And that I had to get my feet under me with the podcast. But I was going to ask you, do you kind of get it? I wonder if anybody gets it. I haven't really like asked anybody, but the like intro music, because it says, "Can you hear me?" Yeah. Can you see it? Because it's live on YouTube and we're recording. I thought that was pretty good.
I guess it's because I've heard that song so many times and played it so many times.
It's passive. Yeah, makes sense. But no, I was just like, I want to do a theme song. Yeah. I didn't want to record something like brand new. And I was like, that is perfect. Can you hear me? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Don't Start a Band podcast.
Wow. I did not know that actually. That is amazing. That's really cool.
I put some thought into it. And now I've never brought that up. So now everybody else knows.
Okay, nice.
So introduce yourself. Tell everybody kind of the beginnings of David and what got you into music and what got you into music, and then furthermore, what got you into playing drums.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. Well, as said before, my name is David. I play in a band called the Backseaters with this gentleman right here. Yeah. Let's see. I started playing with Jake back in, oh my Lord, I think it's actually been almost 4 years now, because it was in February of 2015, I think, when I first like asked if I could try out and that kind of thing. And since then, it's been awesome. It's been so much fun. Like, it's been very gratifying. It's been what I wanted to do. It's a great like creative outlet. Like, I just love it. Like, absolutely love it.
Tell everybody where we met for the first time. This is a good story.
So let's see. It was probably 2011. It was my first job. I think I was
my first job as well.
Yeah, I think I was 15 at the time, and there was this place. I think it's still there actually.
Oh yeah, I go there all the time.
Okay.
I couldn't go there for the longest time, but now I can finally go back and enjoy it.
Nice. But it was called Yogurtland, or it is called Yogurtland. So I put in an application there. I was like 15. I was super nervous about it because I'm like, this is my first job. It's going to be a big deal. Like, it's gonna be really important. And so like I dropped off my application. I was like, okay, here we go.
I feel like I remember you dressing really nice for your interview.
Probably like I think my like mom and dad told me like you have to get dressed up for your interview, and so I like
Dress for the job you want, not the
Exactly.
job you have.
And
I thought like I didn't even know that you played drums or anything, or even thought about playing drums. I just thought when you would bang the spoons on the cash register that you were just a little spazzy.
yeah, no, it was always kind of there. So anyway, when I started working there was this kid, and he was just super hyper all the time, and I didn't really get why. And at one point, the reason I thought like he stuck out to me at one point because we were both sitting at the counter in the morning. He's like, "Do you like 4 Year Strong?" And I was like, "I've never heard of them." I was like, oh. He's like, "Oh, okay." And then I remember about 2 hours later, the same kid took off his shirt so everyone could see the Blink 182 tattoo on his chest.
I'm assuming I'm that kid.
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
And then after that, like I didn't talk that much, really.
Yeah, I don't remember you really talking at all.
Yeah, I was in part terrified and also socially awkward. Like I was homeschooled, so like working at like a job in like the public was like basically my introduction to like the world.
That was throwing you into the sharks too. That's
Yeah.
not like an introduction. That's just like a dropping you off and saying, here's other people, plus here's customer service and people who are going to be upset with you regardless of how polite you are.
I think it kind of scared me at first because like the first time I think like the first night I worked there, I was like trying to like find stuff like in refrigerators and that kind of thing. And some guy, I think his name was Aaron. So like, do you remember Aaron?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm digging around for stuff, and he goes, "Who the fuck are you?" I was just like, "Oh no, I've done it wrong. I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing it wrong." But
that dude was nuts. He used to drink Skull vodka on his lunch breaks, and then come in, and he was a much more pleasant person after his lunch break.
Yeah.
But still a little intense. Being 16, working at your first job, and you're like, this dude gets drunk at work?
That is unbelievable. I would never do that ever.
And then you go further in your career and you're like, oh, well, that guy gets high every day before he goes to work. That guy gets drunk. I don't know what that dude does.
Yeah, he does something. I remember I used to work at this one place, and I caught a guy like doing cocaine in the back room before he went on his shift. So
Jesus.
Yeah. He's like, I'm good to go, man. I'm ready. I'm ready. Like, you go, dude.
That's intense.
You're ready for the night. Go you.
I mean, I get wanting the pep, but like as far as being able to be efficient,
right? Yeah.
That seems like it would be a problem. But I always feel like, because I remember Elise, who was our manager,
yeah.
shout out to Elise,
Shout out.
having difficulty with the scheduling in the winter time, and she had to schedule less shifts for some people, and I was a shift lead at this time, and I think I was.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you were. I think you'd like just become one.
Yeah, but she kind of weaned David off of the schedule, and then I remember him calling. I think he called like once or twice a week to see if you were scheduled, and I just didn't even know what to say. But it was for the best. I stayed there for a little too long. I was there for 2 years. Really set the bar high for my first job, but yeah, that's where we met for the first time. And when did you start playing drums? I know it sounds like it was part of the same conversation, but
No, yeah.
But when did you start playing drums?
Let's see. I remember always like being interested in them as like a kid. Like I don't know if it was just like the aesthetic part of it or just something, but I was just like just naturally kind of attracted to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I officially really started like playing. I think my parents got me like my first drum kit when I was about 12.
Yeah.
And I think from there, I think I tried drum lessons for like 2 months and then just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
And I think at the time, like I was, probably 12 or 13. And so remember, like I think I would download like remember like when they had like MP3s where you could like listen to like the radio.
Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I wasn't rich enough to have an iPod, so
I just wasn't allowed for some reason. My parents wanted me because like everybody had an iPod, but
Yeah.
they were very strict about not letting me get the thing that everybody else had
Right.
at first. So I had it literally looked like a big bean. It was a bean MP3 player. It was
Okay.
like Sony and it had like the curvature of a bean.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and it only held I think like 200 songs or something like that.
Because mine was like that too. I think mine was like because I think I was like 13 when they
Was
got
it a Zune?
It was not. It was called like a Vensa Monster or something. Like it had like a little wheel.
Something goofy.
And so anyway, with this MP3 player, I'd download like Switchfoot singles like off of the radio and like try to like play those and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And then I think after that, like my dad had a friend that had like a MacBook that had like millions of songs on it. So I was,
wow.
yeah, I was on there, and so it's just like trying to like pick stuff out. So there's this one like punk band that I think is still no, they're still around. There was this band called Flog and Molly.
Yeah.
And I just loved it. Like I just loved the sound of it, like the feel of it. Like it was like essentially like the drumming was like punk drumming, like just like ones and twos. But I just really liked that sound. Like it just resonated with me for some reason.
Yeah.
And so I like downloaded like all that stuff, and I was listening to that band for a long time. And then at that point, so I think it was probably like 13 or 14 when I really started to start playing drums.
Yeah.
And so like we would like set it up down in like the basement. Like my sisters would yell at me because like I'd be playing drums while they'd be doing school.
His sisters were mean to him back in the day.
They were off.
Sarah, Leah,
Kayla. Well, actually,
Kayla.
no, I take that back. Not Kayla, because I think Kayla.
Which one was the one that sold your shoes?
That was Sarah.
Sarah, selling your shoes on the internet.
So yeah, but yeah, there we go. First, but two.
Now you're gonna be thinking about it.
Fair. So I kind of started messing around with that stuff, and then when I was 14, I simultaneously started like playing drums at like a church I was going to at the time, Grace Community, I think it was called. I don't think it's a church anymore. But so I kind of started playing there. Was absolutely awful at it. Like was so bad. I'm kind of surprised if anyone is, particularly Stephen Raymer, if you're watching this, thank you for being so kind to me at the time.
It was the beginning.
Yeah, because it was bad. It wasn't great. And then also during that time, I played in a band called Stop, Cough, and Droll.
That's hilarious.
The band never put anything out except if you find it on YouTube, it's deep in the trenches of YouTube. But we did a cover of the Eels song called Fresh Blood.
I've never even heard of the Eels.
Oh, you've never heard of them?
No.
They're like super good, actually.
Yeah.
They're kind of like
I don't think you've showed that to me. You showed me the one that was like
I did with
that band that you recorded with or something.
Yeah. I did like a couple like songs for a woman named Luca Keck, who was a brilliant violinist. Actually, like she's incredible.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have hired me. You could do a lot better. But so yeah, I did a couple songs with her, and then I think right about that point, I was starting to look for like another band, and that's where I found Jake and the Backseaters, and it just kind of went uphill from there. Or what's the word? Like it got better? Like not uphill.
I mean, it got uphill as far as progressing.
Yeah.
But it like made our lives a little easier because I had you because so I've said this when I started the Backseaters, it was just me acoustic, and then I found a drummer, and that guy, let's just leave it at didn't work out. And he left the band, and I posted on Facebook, and David said that he could play drums, and the only thing I remembered was this dude from Yogurtland who would tap on the cash register with spoons. Like that's all I remembered. And I was like, you know what? We lived in the same neighborhood, and I was like, if he wants to try out, that's cool. And I just remember I was recording demos, and he came in, and I said, all right, set up, move my drum kit, however you want it. And I go back and I'm saving everything in Pro Tools. And then he just like rips this fill that, I mean, it was just so, it wasn't like, it was like some kind of off fill that was just very unique. And I knew at that moment the promise that David had. I mean, you were a good drummer at the time, but I knew that you could be a great drummer. But yeah, and then that started the era of the Backseaters duo, which people still ask me sometimes when they're like going to book me, even though I've changed everything on the websites to say like trio or whatever. They still ask if we're still a duo.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. I don't know. For some reason, that really made an imprint on people.
It's probably because like that promo picture that we took like in the middle of February.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
I was wearing like shorts and like a winter coat. It was just really weird.
And I got all dressed up. I had a Johnny Cupcakes hoodie and a leather vest. Because I can admit it. You know what? I can admit my downfalls. I was really into Sons of Anarchy at the time. And I thought the leather, like biker vest, looked really cool with the hoodie. Thought it looked like really hardcore. So I was like, I'm going to wear that. And then that picture, shout out to Zach White for taking that picture, was posted everywhere. Everything we did, that was the picture everywhere. And I hope Live Nation has changed it in their database, but the last time we played a show with Soda Jerk / Live Nation, it was still that picture. So yeah, now for everybody's information, we are a trio / we're a quartet now.
Yeah.
We're a quartet.
Plus Chris.
Trio. That's exactly what we are. Trio plus Chris. Oh, just kidding, buddy.
We love you, Chris, very much. Like, if you're watching this, we love you very much.
You know, the thing about Chris is he's just such a nice individual and just takes it on the chin so well that it just like, you know, all the stuff that you're not sure about saying to everybody else, you just unload it on Chris. But at the end of the day, we respect him. He is a gentleman and a scholar.
That's good.
And a doctor.
Yeah, an actual doctor.
You'd never know if you met him. Just kidding. I'm sorry, Chris.
The roast of Chris.
I feel like at least if we're going to roast him, he should be here. I feel like that would make a good episode. All four of us.
Just roasting Chris for a good hour and a half.
No, I mean, it'd probably be a little bit of that, and then it'd be a little bit of Colton roasting me. Because like it seems like everything I say, Colton has something that's just going at me. And he's always been that way. Like anything you say, like if you mess up saying something, like he's always right there to pick it up and let you know where you fucked up.
He'll be like say a song name wrong, be like, actually you mean Chelsea Smile. I'm like, yeah, thank you, Colton.
Chelsea Smile. We need to have another episode with him on the podcast too.
Yeah, I like it.
Because again, I was still getting my feet under me, and I can't thank him enough for helping me out with that. Where were you, David? Where the fuck were you?
Actually, I think that was like the day after we got home from camping, so I was home.
Dude, I don't know where you were. So what was it like starting out in the Backseaters? After you got the gig, kind of what was your experience with it?
For probably the first year and a half, a lot of it was learning. Like a lot of like how to play in a band, how to record music was like one of them, because I'd never done that before either. Like for real, we're not counting with an iPhone and
with microphones and metronomes.
Yeah. So like that was, I don't know, like it was a lot of work, but it was very like beneficial. Like it helped me get like way better.
Yeah.
And it helped point out like a lot of spots where like I was weak or wasn't necessarily doing it right. And I found it really engaging too. Like it didn't feel like a drag. Like it was just like fun. Like
there were some days that we did it for hours and hours and hours trying to get songs down. And
yeah.
figure out how we wanted to do them.
Yeah. Well, I remember even like recording like our first album, like A Place to Rest Your Feet. Like, remember that it wasn't easy. Like, it was very gratifying, but it was not easy.
No, not at the time. I think We're Not 15 Anymore took us a whole day.
It did.
That was, and you know what? I really love that song. I love all those songs,
Right.
and like even the ones on mailboxes. Like I wish I could just like, as I get better at recording, keep recording them and putting them out.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, if you guys wanted to, I think it'd be cool to like re-record mailboxes, all of us,
That would
and
be
put
fun.
that out because technically it never got put out. Like it's not on Spotify and
Yeah.
iTunes and stuff. So
There's something fun about those old mailboxes songs. Like, I think those
Yeah.
were like the first that I learned, and remember they were just like really fun to play.
yeah,
It was actually kind of funny because I think what actually made me decide to join the Backseaters in the first place was you had posted a video on like Facebook, or actually no, it was on YouTube, and I was watching you guys play, and like it was you, Colton, and then that other guy that you had playing, and I was like, I'm gonna be in that band one day. And very rarely do I say I'm gonna do something and it actually ends up happening.
it's kind of crazy how fate just like, I don't know, because like don't take this the wrong way. And I'm pretty sure we've talked about this. I'm not very good with patience. I'm better now, but I think it's because of David. Definitely before we started playing music together, I had no patience for anything. I wanted it to be good. I wanted it to be perfect right now, right now, right now. But like for some reason, there was never a thought in my head of, oh, I should find another drummer. Like I just wanted for you to be the. It's because I knew you were smart. I knew you understood it. It just was going to take some time, and then look at you now.
I feel like that's kind of just my learning process. Like, I've been trying to get like better at it. But,
Yeah.
like, that's just always been my learning process. Like, I don't like it. Like, I wish it was better. Like,
Yeah, but sometimes I feel like when people learn something, they might like learn it super quick
yeah,
and like get a base level understanding and then go, cool, I'm gonna roll with that and just keep going instead of like expanding on it.
yeah,
With you like doing it slowly, it seems like you never reach a point where you're like, I've learned all I can learn. I'm tapering off now.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Because like even the songs up to recording them, they get better and better and better. And then even after we record them, there's insane fills and like different things you do that like you keep progressing. Whereas, you know, some people, if they go, I know how to play drums, and then they do a drum part, it's solidified. That's it.
I think it's more like I kind of view like my kind of the way I learn is more like through like, I guess you kind of view it as like pyramid building.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one stone and like it's there, like it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like very rarely does it like slip out of place, and if it does seem to be like slipping out of place, it's usually something that's like off with my head, or just like it's not actually forgetting a song how it goes. It's more just like I think I don't know how to play it anymore.
That is definitely, your mind is your biggest uh, enemy when it comes to like learning something.
Yeah.
And that's why I always have to like look at you and be like, David, you know how to play the song.
Yeah.
And then you go, yes, I do. And then your brain's going, no, you don't. You have no idea. Where are the breaks, David?
And it's weird because like that same like concept like applies to like a lot of other areas in my life too.
Yeah.
Like through like work stuff or like house stuff, like just like relationships with people and like how I like interact with people. Like I kind of view life as just one entire learning experience. I don't know if that sounds too like hippie-esque.
No, and I see it as a positive thing because you're not just like going through things so fast and like, like I said, like base level learning them, like you said, when you have that first like block to the pyramid, it's there. You understand it, you know it backwards and forwards, and you can progress from there. Whereas, a lot of other people, and probably myself included, you just kind of set down that first block and then start building the rest of the pyramid, not making sure that that block is even in the right space. You know what I mean? Because I can't even tell you how many times I've like learned another band's song and then like go back and like actually learn it. And I'm like, fuck, I've been playing that wrong the whole time.
Right.
So I don't know. I view it as a positive thing. I mean, in the end, you could view it as it probably takes the same amount of time because like it takes you longer to learn it. And even if someone like surpasses you and thinks they know it, but then they don't actually know it and have to like go back and relearn something.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you probably show up with that person at the same time at the finish line because other people have to go back and like relearn something or because like another thing I do is like I'll learn something, know it, say I know it, and then move forward and then forget it.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And like I said, you learn something, it's stuck.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like I'm trying to think of the weird like animal that's in between like a tortoise and a hare. A hedgehog.
Yeah, armadillo.
Ooh, yeah. I actually saw an armadillo one time in nature.
I've never seen an armadillo.
They're weird. I wouldn't recommend it.
Can they bite? Do they bite?
Ooh, I don't know.
Are they like mean creatures?
I don't think so. Like I think the time I saw it, there was like some kid. He's like, "Look at my armadillo." I'm like, wow, that's cool, man.
They're like a lizard and a kangaroo and
like a rat.
And a rat.
That's kind of the best way to describe it. They're weird.
With armor.
Ooh, actually, it's like a possum with armor. It's kind of the best way to describe it.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Can they roll?
I think so.
Or is that just a cartoon thing?
Oh, what's that? The Road to El Dorado.
That's what it is. Yep. Because the armadillo turns into the ball and they play the. Yeah, I love that movie. That's one of my favorite animated movies. You know what I realized the other night? Did you know that Back to the Future, like those movies are my favorite movies of all time? I realized like those are my favorite movies, and my favorite animated movie is Atlantis, which is still Michael J. Fox.
Good one.
Yeah, the premise is good. Like I even like the animation. I feel like it was just a really, really good movie.
Yeah.
It was solid. I hope they don't remake it. I know that there was like an Atlantis 2, but it's like the same as the Jungle Book 2. I feel like any movie that makes a sequel, they should have it planned before they put out the first one, as opposed to, oh, that did pretty well. Maybe we should try and put together another one real quick.
I feel like all the 2 movies that like came out in like the mid 2000s up until like 2010 were just like weird cash grabs. Like,
definitely.
Because I remember like getting all like soaked on them as like a kid and then going for like either like a friend's birthday party or
the different actors always fucked me up. Like if you saw that it was a different actor, you're like, this isn't going to be good. No. Inspector Gadget 2. That's another one.
Wait, did they change? I thought it was Matthew McConaughey in that movie?
Matthew Broderick?
No.
I know he was in the first one. I don't think he was in the second one.
Okay.
If anybody wants to correct me on that, please do so in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe.
I'm gonna do it.
What?
Jamie, can you look that up for us?
Jamie, can you look that up for me?
Sorry, that was bad. Anyway.
Dude, I don't want people to know that I listen to Joe Rogan. I don't listen to Joe Rogan. Anyway, what were we talking about? Animated movies, Michael J. Fox.
The learning process.
Learning process. Fuck.
Maybe it's a slightly interesting topic. My musical introduction.
The Armadillo. That's derailed.
One thing I did want to mention. My like musical like introduction, I feel like it was kind of backwards. Because like I got into like bands like Flock and Volley and like kind of like the early punk scene like first.
Yeah.
And then in the band I was in Stop Cough and Troll.
That's a mouthful.
I know it is. I don't know why we thought it was a good name.
Because it's funny when you're 13.
Yeah. But like the kid's dad got me into like, and like the kid I was doing it with, Hunter Gill. I don't know where he is anymore. I haven't talked to him in like 4 years.
Shout out to Hunter Gill, friend of the podcast.
But like his dad was into like the local music scene at the time. So I remember him telling me about bands like the Lumineers and like Nathaniel Rateliff when they were playing like Lost Lake.
That's crazy.
Which is weird. So like kind of got into like that scene and like the UMS scene, and then also bands like Neutral Milk Hotel and that kind of thing.
That's when it all got weird.
I love Neutral Milk Hotels.
I know you do. That one's not as weird, but like that's one thing I remember about when we started playing music together is you made me this like burned CD of a bunch of like different artists. And I remember one of them was like I think it was the Mountain Goats
Oh yeah.
and Tallest Man on Earth, and I was just like looking at this CD like what the fuck? I did I mean full disclosure, I don't think I ever listened to it. I think it's still somewhere in this studio,
Fair.
to be honest. So, I mean, I should listen to it.
No, it's a weird mix.
But I will say that you showing me these weird bands kind of like got me into being more experimental with my listening
Yeah.
because, I mean, for me, it was pop punk, hardcore, Gaslight Anthem.
Okay.
And like that was it. And then like, I remember right around the time we started playing together is when I started checking out like American football, foxing, like those kind of more indie underground bands.
I think you were the one that got me in kind of more like the emo sound, like Tiny Moving Parts.
Yeah.
And then,
The world is a beautiful place and I'm no longer afraid to die.
yeah. I got to see them once, and like I remember there was like 15 people on the stage at one point.
Yeah, there's a lot going on even on the records.
Really good.
Yeah.
Trying to think, and then after I got into bands like Modest Mouse.
You Blew It. That was another one that I had started listening to.
Do you listen to Modest Mouse at all?
I have tried.
Oh.
The songs I write have been compared to Modest Mouse.
Yeah.
But I passed Float On. I don't know if I've ever heard anything else.
Gotcha. You might actually really like. There's an album called like The Lonesome Crowded West, and I think the other one is called. I don't know if it's called The Third Planet or something like that. Or no, something to do with Antarctica. Oh, The Moon in Antarctica.
Okay.
And I think you would really like them.
I think I would too. I just, for some reason, my brain like decides when I'm going to listen to something. Like the most recent one, for the longest time, I loved the Gaslight Anthem, Brian Fallon, but I just couldn't stand Bruce Springsteen. It just like didn't care, whatever. And then recently, my brain just said, we're going to start listening to Bruce Springsteen. And so I started listening to Born to Run, and his first albums, Born to Run and Born in the USA. Are they both Born?
I don't know because I don't listen to any Bruce Springsteen at all.
Well, I mean, I always loved like I'm on Fire and Atlantic City, but like I never really listened to anything else. And then recently I started listening to those first like 2 albums, and he's got some good stuff.
Does he do Walking in Memphis?
No, that's Mark Cohn.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But I do love that song.
Yeah.
I've loved that song for probably since I was like 11 or 12.
Ooh, mine like 11 or 12. That's like kind of old or oldies, I guess. No disrespect. Don't roast me.
Ain't gonna be an oldie.
Yeah. Simon and Garfunkel.
Oh, that is an oldie.
Yeah, I love Simon and Garfunkel.
Miss Robinson.
Yep, and Cecilia.
I haven't delved too into it. I know Mrs. Robinson, and that's about it.
Fair.
Thank you, American Pie. That's why I know of it. But yeah, when we started playing together, that's when I started like, because I got really into You Blew It, and like I said, American football, foxing, and I feel like because before that I was playing chords.
Okay.
And that was it. And like the drums were super straightforward. And then you joined and you had your unconventional drum parts. And I was listening to all this like emo, like guitar, clean, riffy music, which like got me to be experimental. And that's one thing I wanted to say on the podcast is another thing that I think worked extremely well to your advantage was not taking drum lessons.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's different things that you could say about helpful and whatever, but I think people overlook the fact that like by not having drum lessons beat into your head.
Yeah.
You got to learn songs, and like everybody hears music differently, and you like hear it the way that you hear it, and like the drums, like there was no format, no lines you had to color within. So I mean the opportunities and things you could do were endless, and like finding Under Oath and his Aaron Gillespie's like unconventional style.
Going about Under Oath all day.
Yeah, that, I mean, like I think he took drum lessons and was like drum centered, but
Yeah, I think he did.
still like the stuff he plays isn't just
Yeah.
and I mean I can play the weird stuff, but I've always just been more like programmed for the straightforward, being in the pocket, like, because I grew up playing in jazz band and stuff. But I think not taking lessons worked extremely well to your advantage.
I think it does work out in like some ways because like it makes the only thing that I've like noticed with it is like sometimes like I'll hear like songs being played or like when you're like giving me something to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes like I hear it and it just like works.
Yeah.
And then there's other times where like it just doesn't make sense in my head.
Yeah.
Which is I think that's kind of the benefit of like having lessons because like when you hear those songs that don't make sense immediately, you can be like, okay, well the one's there and the two's there and the three's there. So like part of what I've been doing now is working a lot more with like metronomes and that kind of thing, and like learning where like foot placements go and trying to be like more like on it. And like discovering
like muscle memory.
Kind of like that, or like being more aware of like 1 and 4, like where they actually are.
Well, that's a big thing that you like learn in drum lessons, which I would say is beneficial.
Yeah.
But kind of like makes you neurotic with everything you do is like counting.
Yeah.
Like I can show you every single song I've ever written has like, 4 bars of this, 2 bars of the pre-chorus, and then 4 bars of it's all like 2, 4. Like very rarely do I have a 1 measure of this, 2 measures, 4 measures, 3 measures, like something weird like that. Like it's all 2s and 4s, and like it's just beat into my brain. Like even when I record demos, like I don't even like think like to count out 2 bars or whatever, or like 2 phrases. It just like does it. But the thing is, when even when I'm like cleaning cars or doing something, it'll be like I'll be putting something down and 1 2 3 4 1 2 3. Like it drives me nuts. And like there's things that I have to do like 4 times and 3 times, and it'll make you crazy.
I don't know. I've kind of like, because it's funny because
but it like I just wanted to say it is beneficial.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like once, because I think the Backseaters didn't play with a clique for 2 years.
I think you started playing with a clique right before we recorded Phantom.
I think so.
Because I remember going into the recording process, you weren't like a stranger to it per se.
No.
But I still had to like figure out the tempos to give to Taylor before we went in. So I think we were starting to mess
I think the first time we really used it was I think when we recorded Ground Up with Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that time we definitely used one.
Yeah.
That's where I kind of became like acquainted with it. I mean, I think there was that one time when we recorded hold on. Oh, Coming Back. And
oh yeah.
You had to stand out here and like play it.
That's I remember that. Yeah, I stood out and I counted it and like played it, because like a lot of like what you do too, you're also a very visual drummer.
Yeah.
And like you and I have always like had this eye contact thing where like you can feel we're about to come to a change, but like I lift my guitar and like you can tell by like the way I'm moving my body, like when I step away from the microphone and like stuff like that. I feel like that helps you.
It does.
And like I try and keep that in mind. Like when we're practicing, like sometimes I'm just, playing, not really thinking about it. But I'll notice like I'll get close to the microphone like early and you'll like go into the verse.
Oh yeah.
Not that you're not like counting or thinking about it, but just that it it's just a cue. So
no, I know what you mean.
But yeah, would you say that playing with a clique helps?
Very much so. Like it's kind of weird. Like I fill in part time.
Check the.
Oh yeah. Do I have to keep talking? Or
Yeah.
okay. So I fill in part time and I play drums at this church in Parker called Compass. And before I was playing with this dude, and his name is Mike Brown. If he's listening, I don't know.
Mike Brown, friend of the podcast.
Very much so. And so he would. So when we would play together, he kind of be like, "David, do whatever you want," which like it was fun. I'm like, okay, like whatever.
That's the complete opposite of what we do.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, David, play exactly this, but kind of change it to make it your own.
Yeah. So that was fun. And I was like, okay, whatever. And like it worked out. But then we kind of had to switch in people. And there's the person doing it now. Her name is Rachel Amadei, and she actually plays in a band called Deerling. They're a local Denver band, and they're very good. Shout out.
Did they played at Red Rocks, didn't they?
Yeah. And
they opened, was it Movie on the Rocks or something? Or did they actually open up for somebody at Red Rocks?
I think they won like a Fleetwood Mac like contest.
Oh.
And yeah, so they were able to like, do that. So that was cool. But so anyway, she started playing and she's like taught me a lot too, like just how like song structures work and like how to like fit better with like how I play too.
Yeah.
Because like in the Backseaters, I hit really hard. Really hard.
You've gotten a lot better at it, though.
Yeah.
I was watching a video the other day from one of the first times we played at the Lions Lair as a duo.
Oh.
And it was just like fucking crashing, just you know what I mean? No dynamics, just
I do think I remember there just being a lot of like it was just loud and very aggressive. But anyway, she's been teaching me a lot about like how to play dynamically and like with people. And like she actually gave me like some of those like ProMark like rods to play with.
Yeah, I have those.
Yeah.
With like the bunch of little sticks in them.
Exactly. So like, that's like taught me a lot about like how like dynamics work. And so that's been like a lot of fun to like learn too as well. And also like when
Are you saying I didn't teach you shit about dynamics?
I'm not saying that at all. You read into it.
Everything I write is dynamic, bitch.
It is.
Anyway,
that's more just me learning how to like accommodate for it because I have not been for the longest time.
Yeah.
Well, I've been getting better at it.
The thing is when you're like, when we write it together or whatever, like you're not thinking about it. It just happens.
Yeah.
You know, so when you're playing live, you're just like, oh, I know the song structure, but you're not like thinking about the sound of everything. You know what I mean? Which I would definitely say that you think more about now.
Most definitely.
Like when we get quiet in the songs, it like goes fucking quiet.
Yeah.
You know?
So like learning about like those dynamics and also like strong structures I've been really trying to work on as well. And so I found that like sometimes like I'll be like either learning new songs or like trying to practice new songs like with Backseaters or just whatever. And I have difficulty like playing it live because like I have no idea what the structure is. I'm like, I don't know where this part is. I don't know where that part is. I don't know how long this goes on for.
Yeah.
And so once I kind of started learning like how to not necessarily like chart things out, like I'm not quite that good. Like I know some guys that can be like, well, there's 4 counts of 5 here, and then there's like a kick right here. Like I'm not that good, but at all. But like
eventually it just becomes like an internal, like you can feel.
Yeah.
Like you know that you play the 2 bars and then you like hit a crash or do a little fill and then play 2 more bars and then you go into the pre-chorus.
Yeah.
And, you know, it becomes a feeling, you know what I mean?
So like to be able to like get to that point where like I can hear like a new song, like that's what amazes me about you is you can be like, well, here's this new song or here's one we're trying to learn. It goes like this, and this, and then it stops here, then it goes right here, and then it goes right here, and then it's right here, and then it's done. Easy. I'm like, oh,
I know. I think it's just because I get so excited to play it. Like I've already played it a shit ton of times, so I'm like, what the fuck don't you get about this?
Yeah,
I know it backwards and forwards. Learn it in 2 seconds.
So like I've been trying to get better at that. So just learning like how structures work and how dynamics work and how they affect like how the song works has been something I've really been enjoying like getting into. Like I find that every year like there's something new about drumming that kind of takes me somewhere. No, that sounds weird. But Takes me somewhere special.
You could say takes you somewhere new.
Ooh, I
You
like
know,
that. I like that.
Down
more.
different roads that
Yeah.
all lead to, being the best drummer that you can be.
Exactly. Like I think last year was like learning how to play effectively with a click. Now it's like gotten to like a weird point where like I don't like playing without one.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is-
Once you have that, it almost like it feels like cheating after a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's making you the best drummer
Yeah.
because you're playing to a click and it's like got that like support, you
Yeah.
know?
I'm at like a weird point now. Like I feel like the only people that get away with it are like hardcore bands.
Yeah, hardcore or like jam bands.
Yeah.
But even like, jam bands who aren't playing to a click, like they'll slow down and get like way slower than they should have.
Yeah.
Or, you really got to play with people for a long fucking
Right.
time before you, don't play to a click.
Yeah.
But
Well, like I heard like there's as far as like hardcore bands that like do it well, there's only like 3 that I know of.
mhm.
Like I think like the Chariot recorded their first record. I think they did it like completely live without one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I know that band Knock Loose did it without one.
Damn.
And the new Every Time I Die record, they did it, I think, entirely live too.
Like everybody playing all at the same time.
Like in one room.
Death Cab for Cutie did that. They said with a lot of the songs off Narrow Stairs.
Oh no way, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I think Your New Twin Size Bed. There was quite a few of them. I watched an interview where they said that they were just like all in separate rooms and like had headphones on and played it all together.
Yeah.
Because they wanted it to have that like natural sound.
I like that feeling like a lot. Like,
Yeah.
Do you watch like those audio tree sessions?
Yes.
Like I love those.
Yeah, same.
They make me happy.
I really like the Weather Box ones.
Ooh, I haven't seen those.
Yeah, they have some good ones. Who else have I watched? Turnover has some good ones.
Did you watch Julian Baker's at all?
Mm-mm.
Oh, hers is.
There's so
amazing.
many of them.
Yeah.
I also like they're a little more sloppy, but no offense. It's not Little Elephant's fault.
Yeah.
It's just some of the bands on there. And I think it might be because of the tight quarters. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But like I like Little Elephant too.
Yeah, me too. Are they still doing stuff?
I don't know.
Like it's been a while.
Yeah, because I watched the Dad's one.
Okay.
I think I watched a Mom Jeans one.
Did you watch the Modern Baseball one?
Yes.
Okay, because that's the one I know of.
Foxing, I think, did one too. I know they did an audio tree session, but I think they might have also done a Little Elephant.
Okay.
I've always wanted to do one of those. I think it would be fun. And like the Story So Far and Transit did. Well, Transit might have done an audio tree session, but I know they also did these sessions at, I think it was under Panda Records or Panda Recording Studio.
Like Panda, yeah.
Yeah, because if you search the Story So Far, it was like right after What You Don't See came out, and they play a bunch of songs off of that. Yeah. And then Transit plays songs off of Listen and Forgive.
Okay.
But yeah, those in studio things are very cool. I would probably do that at some point in our career if we had like the budget and the time. I think that would be really cool to set something up like that, because when we play live, there's 100% an aspect to it that it's different when you record it. And I feel like it's like that with all bands. And I've always said the guy who, sits in his room and shreds the guitar, like you can shred and be the best guitar player on earth in your room.
Yeah.
But you playing with people, it's not all about you. And you're not, the guitar player, the drummer, the bass player, you're the band.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's always like kind of a bummer, like when you see those, like some of those bands live and they don't have a very good like live dynamic.
Yeah.
It's either like super off, or they don't. I mean, obviously, like there's off nights, but like if you see like a band play like more than once and it's still kind of like wonky.
Yeah, I think it's super important to. And that's why like even when we don't have shows or like necessarily anything coming up, that it's very important to still get together and practice and have that familiarity. And like before our last band meeting, which to bands out there, have band meetings. Sit down with everybody, see where everybody's, head is at as far as being in the band, what they want to do. Because at the end of the day, you want everybody in the band to be happy and to still be stoked on it.
Yeah.
But I
Even-
felt like we were becoming like four separate entities a little bit, like not too much.
Yeah.
But then, like, definitely the next time we got back together
Yeah.
to practice, like, it was definitely more gelled. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, there wasn't like air separating us as
Yeah.
people.
It's kind of like putting like air freshener under.
Yeah. It's, I just can't think of a different way to say it without sounding too hippie-ish
No.
and talking about vibes, but
You gotta have the good vibrations in the room, brother.
Yeah.
Like you just have to clear out all the bad chi in your soul, and then before you know it, you're just cruising on to Jamland, man.
is this Hulk Hogan lighting incense?
Ooh, that would be
Brother.
good. You just see like his little like spaghetti tendrils like floating in the air.
Yeah,
while
exactly.
incense burns.
But no, it's having a good air in the practice session, but also just believing in the band.
Yeah.
And everybody like believing your part, but believing that the band is all going to get to the same place in the end. So I feel like that's super important.
Or just like because one of the other reasons that like I really like music is just it's a safe it's a safe place. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like even like if work's awful or like home life is meh or like just something's going on, like band is like just kind of a place where you can just get away from it, even if it's like for like an hour or like 2 hours. Like it's just it's somewhere to go. It's somewhere to like release energy, like put the energy into the world.
Well, and very rarely, if like any one of us is like having a bad day or an off day, very rarely does it carry throughout the whole practice. Like it
Yeah.
might go through like one or two songs, but I mean, after a while, you kind of forget the world outside of it. And personally, I feel better after practice usually.
Me too. Yeah.
Because you get those endorphins going, you play the songs.
It's kind of like another version of working out.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how like you go to see some bands and like it could be like it could be like something like not heavy or something heavy, and like just how like the room will change like with each band that goes on.
Yeah.
Like just how the feel of it will change. Like you like regardless of like the sound, like you could have like 15 bands that all sound the same. But,
Yeah.
like, each one of those different bands is bringing something like different as to like what they're feeling or like what they're trying to express.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really cool about like art and music in general. I hope that doesn't sound like too like
No, it doesn't. And I feel like that's why it's very hard to compare the Backseaters music to other music.
Sure.
Is because we all listen to completely different things.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, we have our, common bands that we all listen to, but in a big way, like Colton listens to a lot of hip hop and like different stuff, and you listen to underground, like different things. I mean, yours is all over the place, kind of like mine, but mine, delves between the, Brian Fallon Gaslight Anthem and like Tiny Moving Parts and Dangerous Summer. But I think it all comes together, and that's why it sounds good, and thank God doesn't clash.
Yeah. Do you ever like find like your like musical taste will like kind of vary on like the day? I think that kind of goes for like
Definitely.
everyone, but like
Yeah.
I find that there's some days where it's like, all right, this is like the hardcore week, and then you have like next week it's like, all right, this is my hip hop week.
Definitely.
I don't know. I think like as long as you keep it like varied, and it's kind of a way of like helping like you grow, like even like as a person, like as a musician and that kind of thing.
Well, not like forcing yourself to play a certain kind of songs or listen to a certain kind of music or anything like that. As long as you just like let it come to you. Like I feel like that's how the Grateful Dead has found me, and Bruce Springsteen, and I'm much more open. I don't go, well, this is on the radio, so I'm not going to listen to it.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of dropped that around the time I was like 17, 18 and got into the Lumineers and, you know, all kinds of music.
It's weird how like people will say, I mean, this isn't like well, actually, no, let me readjust this. There is only one genre of music I have a really difficult time like really diving into, and it's classical.
Classical music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
Like I don't mind listening to it. Like it's not like turn it off, but like I just have a really hard time like I can't list you off like 18 like classical composers.
for me it's a little unnerving
Gotcha.
because it like I don't know, maybe it would be different if my purpose for listening to it was just to listen to it.
Yeah.
But like as far as listening to it in the car, it sounds like a bunch of you know, different random compositions.
Yeah.
As opposed to if you hear a whole symphony or something like that, you're hearing a whole story,
Yeah.
essentially, you know. But if you're just catching little snippets, for me, it's just like it's a little unnerving, and I just want to listen to a real song.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of weird. Like, do you like that band Godspeed You Black Emperor? Never heard of? Have you heard of them?
Nope.
Okay. But like they're this like post rock band, kind of like Explosions in the Sky.
I really like a band called are they no, their song was called Godspeed. Never mind.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. But
that band that I got super into that I can't remember the name of right now.
Oh yeah. It'll come back like 20 minutes from now.
If you know what band that was, drop it in the comments.
But there's this band called Godspeed You Black Emperor, and they do like these like 20 to 18 minute like compositions basically.
Yeah.
But they're all composed of like guitars and like violins and like drums and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're listening to like symphonies, but it's all with like modern music or like modern like musical equipment.
Okay.
So it's really interesting. But it's funny because that's stuff I could listen to all day.
Yeah.
But like as far as like classical compositions, I just have a really hard time focusing on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way, and it probably doesn't make sense because I love jazz.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess jazz is all one song. It's not like an entire symphony, but I love like 50s and 60s and I think 70s jazz, but like once they started incorporating a bunch of like electronic like elements and like the recordings got better.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't super into it, but like I love like old live jazz recordings. It kind of reminds me of when I played in jazz band. Like you can smell the coffee and like the desserts that people brought and like the clapping is a certain way. And I love that old jazz sound. And I love like a trio and a quartet.
Yeah.
Because it just sounds like such it just has a very full sound with very few people.
Ooh, so what are your are you not this is I'm not trying to be like so you're saying that you don't like new jazz? I'm not trying to say that at all.
I mean yeah, kind of.
Gotcha. That's
Nora Jones is about as new jazzy as I get.
Gotcha. I think
there's just something about like the electric guitar in jazz that's not my favorite thing.
Gotcha.
Other than, and this is an old jazz person, Wes Montgomery.
Okay.
He was a jazz guitarist like back, I think in the 60s. But like as far as the new ones with like the clarity, maybe it's just the clear recordings. I don't know what my fucking problem is with it, but it just like the songs don't resonate. They don't make me feel anything.
Gotcha. I'm trying to think. I think the last jazz album I listened to was actually by a guy named. It's an album called Departed. I know the album is called Departed. I almost said Departed. Departed. And it's got a drummer named Jojo Mayer on it and another guy named Frank. I know that isn't very helpful.
If you know that album, drop it in the comments. The Departed. Departed.
Yeah, Departed. And it was just really good. I remember, like, I think I was listening to it one night and I was making turkey wraps.
Yeah.
My roommate said, I think this is the fanciest that you've ever been.
That's hilarious.
It was actually it was a good joke.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I've said a million times, I've like said it ad nauseum,
Yeah.
but music either hits you or it doesn't. Classical music, it makes me feel absolutely nothing other than like a little irritated
Right.
or a little like, I mean, if it's like super dark,
Yeah.
it'll again just irritated. But then you put on Dave Brubeck Quartet, Bill Evans Trio, Thelonious Monk, Miles Davis, early like
Yeah.
kind of blue Miles Davis.
Yeah.
Then it just like makes me feel all warm inside, and like I love listening to jazz when it's raining or snowing outside.
Right. Yeah.
Just like the Postal Service, that's another snowing band that I love.
Ooh, I think I like them more in the rain.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, quote unquote gloomier weather.
Yeah.
They're definitely like more of a gloomy weather band, but I
Yeah.
don't know if I could listen to them on a sunny day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's kind of like the same with my favorite song of all time, Brothers on a Hotel Bed by Death Cab for Cutie. I don't know that I could really feel that song on a bright and sunny happy day,
Yeah.
you know.
Ooh, do you wanna? I find is really good for like depressing days is La Dispute and their Wildlife album.
Which one was that?
It's got it's after somewhere between Vega. I'm not saying the title of that right. It's like the second album that they made. It's got like
That's not the one with the boat on it, is it?
No, it's the album after that. It's got like all the bushes
Okay.
and foliage on it.
Okay, I don't know if I've listened to that one.
It's got like King Park on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that album.
Okay, yeah. I haven't listened to too much on that album, but
Okay.
I love King Park.
Me too.
That song is talk about a story.
I remember the first time I heard it, like I think I was like playing Donkey Kong 64 in like my basement when I was like 15 or something.
Oh damn.
And I remember like after like a while, I'm like, okay, this is starting out pretty good. And then I had to pause the game at one point. I'm like, oh.
It's a roller coaster. The first time I actually like heard anything from, and like I always just was like a lot of dispute.
Yeah.
But I was working at the body shop I used to work at, and just from across the shop, I hear the will I still get into heaven if I kill myself? And I was like, what the fuck is that person listening to? And then I listened to it and I was like, damn, because they tell a story.
Yeah.
That's what I love about like the early Defeater records too. Like, I guess I haven't sat down and listened to the full records of like the newer stuff, but definitely those first three.
Oh yeah.
Just amazing. I've listened to them over and over and over.
Yeah, like Letters Home is like a masterpiece. Like I love that record.
Yeah.
Do you like Me Without You? I think
Colton actually is the person who got me into Defeater.
Oh no way. Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Me Without You, I haven't. It's another one of those bands that I haven't like sat down and like took the time to listen to.
Gotcha.
And I think like some of these bands like Modest Mouse, Me Without You, like it needs to be at a time where I am open to something new.
Yeah.
And where I want to, because like when I find these bands, I'm actively listening to a full album.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm not just like looking for songs and clicking next.
Single.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I need to be open and like have the mindset of I'm going to sit here and I'm going to listen to this album. But do they do the same thing, the storytelling thing?
They do one called like 12 Stories, and basically it's like a concept album that like tracks like a like a train like unhinging from like the tracks,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of like this sounds kind of weird, but it documents like all of like the individual like stories of each one of the animals that gets off. But the way like it's like a train, it's like a
God forbid it just be people. Gotta be animals.
But like the way that like their singer Aaron Weiss writes it is like he uses like human perspectives through like the personification of animals.
Oh, okay.
And it's just I don't know. It's one of my favorites.
It's artistic.
Very much so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's I give props to anybody who puts that much thought and like artistic integrity into their music.
Yeah.
As opposed to, well, I think people are going to think this is catchy, so I'm going to write it. You know what I learned recently? You know that song? It's by the Talking Heads. It's either called Days Go By or I think it's Days Go By.
Okay.
As the days go by and the water flowing.
Yeah.
That song, I learned that like the way, so they were all art students.
Okay.
And the way he sings in the verse when he's like, "This is not my beautiful house.
Yeah.
You are not my beautiful wife." Like he got inspired by watching videos of preachers and like seeing preachers, the way they like talk and like express things when they're, you know, leading a service or whatever. He thought like it would be cool to like use that when singing the verses of that song.
Huh.
And it, do you follow a YouTube page called Polyphonic?
It sounds familiar. Yeah.
Definitely. And they are not a sponsor of the podcast, unfortunately. But little plug for Polyphonic. That is my favorite YouTube channel because it has like all these history lessons on like certain like styles or bands or songs. Like it has one about Miles Davis's Kind of Blue and how it changed the face of jazz forever. It has one that talks about When You Were Young by the Killers.
Oh, yeah.
And it talks about how Brandon Flowers heard Bruce Springsteen on the radio and like it just resonated with him at the time. And he went to a record store and bought like his greatest hits.
Yeah.
And like, you know, there's certain parts in When You Were Young that like pay homage to, you know, Bruce Springsteen or whatever. I think I said that right. Homage. Is that right? Homage. I don't know.
I think you're good. Yeah.
But yeah, it just has like little things like that, or like the theory behind blues musicians being possessed by the devil. That's actually where I learned that Freddie Mercury, before I saw Bohemian Rhapsody, which is an amazing movie, by the way. Freddie Mercury has something in his like mouth or his throat or whatever where his vibrato is intense, like where most people, you know, it might go, you know, slightly up and down, like his can go insanely. Like there was you know, genetically something definitely. It's just like it's history lessons.
Ooh. Oh, wait, go ahead.
Oh, the last thing I was going to say is it has a whole video on John Bonham and like how his style like became so iconic.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
So, yeah.
In that series, does it like talk about like, so like the uprising of blues, which I think is like a really interesting, like just history lesson, like in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like who was first? Was it Robert Johnson first or Muddy Waters? Do you remember?
I believe Muddy Waters came first.
Gotcha.
Don't quote me on it.
Okay, fair. But yeah, so just like the rise of like Muddy Waters and then how that inspired Robert Johnson, and then how everyone thought he was possessed by the devil because he was so good at guitar. And then after that, like you have like the introduction of like rock and roll and that kind of
the
thing.
Rolling Stones, like that was their number one influence was like blues, like Keith Richards. That was like his shit.
Yeah,
was the blues. And he talks about I don't know if you've watched that Netflix documentary that he does.
Keith Richards or
he
does one?
He's like, it's like kind of a documentary about him, but he's just like telling stories and he's talking about how like he loved Muddy Waters. And the first time they were recording in America, it was in New York City, maybe Nashville, I can't remember. But they went into the studio and Muddy Waters was painting the walls. He was like working at the studio, like painting the walls. And he just remembered being like dumbfounded because this was his hero. And the dude's just like, you know, painting the walls. I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool, you know. And like when it talks about the devil possession thing, it like references certain songs, how they like say certain things or like certain stories about these artists. But I love that channel. I've learned so much from it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, there's there's a one on Amy Winehouse.
Ooh, did you watch like
There's
her
so much
2-hour documentary that she did?
Yeah, I did. It made me really like and respect her music a lot more, because before I was just like, like that song Rehab.
Yeah.
But like seeing how enthralled she was with you know, jazz and blues and stuff like that, and her influences or whatever, it kind of made me enjoy her music more and
Yeah.
see that like she actually knew how to play the guitar and stuff, and it kind of gave me a deeper understanding of her music, so I enjoyed it more. But man, that documentary, like, it bummed me the fuck out.
Ooh, what actually kind of sold me on like pop music permanently was I watched Lady Gaga's documentary 5'2".
See, I keep meaning to watch it, but for some reason I just haven't clicked on it. Is it good?
It's fantastic. Like it documents like her up until the point where she played like the Super Bowl like 2 or 3
Because
years
she's
ago.
another one of those like genius musicians, isn't she?
Yeah, and like it was always weird like hearing her on like the radio like all the time. Like, oh,
Yeah.
like, whatever. But after watching that, I'm like, oh, and it was just incredible. So if you ever get the chance, like check out Lady Gaga's 5'2".
Definitely. I've wanted to, because I know she's another one of those like she has a jazzy influence as well, and like she grew up playing in bars in New York, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's endless musicians like that. Do you find that and this is one thing I thought of when we were talking about Amy Winehouse, like say like the Rolling Stones or whatever, you hear their music and it's the Rolling Stones, but like, do you ever like find yourself liking an artist or a band a little bit more when you know their influences?
Yeah.
And you can like pick it out and hear it and like hear their inspiration? I feel like it makes them less godlike, because you can see that they're pulling things from other artists,
Yeah.
or like being inspired. They're not stealing, but like it gives you like background information about them, so you know where they're coming from.
It's kind of like how I got into John Mayer. Like I was not a fan for the longest time.
Yeah.
In part because like I was kind of associated with like tabloids. I'm like, oh, it's just another tabloid guy, like whatever.
Yeah.
But kind of the more I dug into just kind of his catalog and what he was doing, kind of the angle that he approaches things like now, and I'm very sold, which kind of surprised me because I never thought I'd get into John Mayer.
Yeah. Have you watched his little documentary on YouTube?
No, I didn't know that he had one.
Yeah. I didn't either until I just found it one day. It's called Someday I'll Fly.
Okay.
And it talks about like, goes from the beginning, like getting his first guitar, being inspired by Stevie Ray Vaughan, and all the way up. It goes all the way up to Paradise Valley, and he talks about how his ego kind of got the best of him.
Yeah.
And all that stuff, but it's fantastic.
Gotcha.
It gives some good insight for sure.
Also, wait, what's it called again?
Someday I'll Fly.
Someday I'll Fly. Okay, cool.
I think the lyric is from that song Bigger Than My Body.
Okay, yeah.
Someday I'll fly, someday I'll soar, I think is what he said.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm setting up the Instagram live, letting people know what's up. It's too good of a conversation to let go unnoticed.
Aw, thank you.
Checking connection. And we are live on Instagram. Hello, everybody. This is episode 25 of the Don't Start a Band podcast with my man, David Jerusik. And we were just talking about John Mayer, one of my faves. We were talking about how he has a documentary on YouTube. It's called Someday I'll Fly. There's actually the first time I saw the Amy Winehouse documentary, I saw it on YouTube first before they put it on Netflix.
Okay, yeah.
But if you search on the internet like music YouTube documentaries, there's a ton on there.
Really?
That's actually how I saw a Robin Williams documentary.
Oh gosh.
Probably not before it was on TV, but there's a lot of documentaries on there that are pretty fucking good.
On YouTube too.
Yeah. I really like, they have a lot of the VH1 behind the musics.
Yeah.
Like they have Oasis, Counting Crows.
Okay.
How do you feel about Counting Crows? I don't know if
Ooh.
we've ever talked about this.
I feel bad because after I moved to Golden, I became somewhat of a hippie. not like full on,
Yeah.
but like I started drinking like kombucha and like enjoying it. I started drinking like
There's nothing wrong with that, man. It makes
Yeah.
your body feel
I'm
good.
trying to think what else, but just like weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that I wasn't really into before. So anyway, the Counting Crows is one of those bands that like. All right, I'm not gonna say that part. But
No, say, you know what? After
fair.
being with Annika for so long and just like coming to grips with there's certain things she doesn't like. And for some reason that like it took me so long to like get past it and realize that music hits everybody differently.
Yeah.
Because it just didn't make sense because I was like, this band is so good. Their songs are so good.
Yeah.
How could you not like them? But it makes sense now. So say what you were gonna say.
All right.
Talk shit.
My initial experience with the Counting Crows was in the Shrek 2 soundtrack.
Oh God. I mean, I like that song.
And here's the thing.
The music video is weird as fuck.
No, it is. I love that song as well.
Yeah.
So after that, I was like, and then I just kind of pushed it off. I'm like, okay, anyone that's willing to associate with Shrek 2 can't be all that great.
Yeah.
So I'll admit that was my bad. But as of late, I've gotten far more into their kind of discography. Is that the right? Okay, yeah. So, and I haven't gone very deep yet, but I can see where like they truly are like one of the they're fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, and I can officially like say that now. Like, I don't know them like too well, but I like them a lot from what I've heard.
Yeah. And I mean, I haven't like delved super deep into like everything.
Yeah.
But I've like heard bits and pieces. Like I love August and Everything After, which has like Round Here, Mr. Jones, Rain King. And I don't know, the way he tells stories, and like his best storytelling song, I think, is Miss Potter's Lullaby.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's just like a full story, and just everything he talks about it's just really unique and cool. And I find that when I'm having trouble like writing lyrics for demos or whatever, somehow it always comes full circle, and I start listening to Counting Crows. Because like your drumming, I listen to that and I hear, oh, there's not the confines of love story or a you and a me. There's this other story. I can write about this. I can write about that. I can say something weird because it's like they're my lyrics and it's how I feel. And like it might be something like totally off from what I'm writing about, but like I feel it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it kind of, they always circle back around when I need inspiration because
so cool. Yeah.
I don't know, he's just a smart dude. And I actually, one thing I love about them, I think I've told you this, but I'll say it on the podcast. One thing I love about Counting Crows is every time they play Round Here, like sometimes he has these like little things that he'll do in the bridge. Like their bridges are, I think, like 5 minutes long or whatever. And the band just like keeps playing like super quiet behind him. Like it's intricate how like detailed they are at being so quiet, but he'll like spitball some lyrics, just like some random lyrics, or he has like some ones that he's rehearsed. Or the most recent one I saw from when they went on tour last summer is he tells this story about, when him and their guitar player were living in a warehouse across from like the bay and across from this railroad track. And he talks about how they'd go to the 99-cent store and get dented boxes of mac and cheese and like dented cans of soup. But that they were going out every night and seeing their friends' bands, practicing, playing shows. Like it was always about music, and they were always, the thing that kept them going was the loud electric guitars and the crashing of cymbals, just hoping that somebody would notice them. And then he goes, and you did. And then the whole crowd just goes nuts. And then he starts building it back up into the verse,
Yeah.
which he has like a little thing that he's done since like 2002, which builds it back up. And then it just, it like builds it. And then he goes, I said no. And the whole band just fucking dies. And like, just like the whole crowd goes silent. And then he goes, there's a girl in the car in the parking lot. And then it just goes into that third verse. Like, gives me fucking goosebumps every time I hear it. Good. And I know that people don't love them. And you know what? They don't need to love them.
Yeah.
But it's a need that is in me. And I love that I have that need. I love that I have that little thing that can make me so happy and give me goosebumps. And I'm sure there's things like that for you.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah.
What are like what's like one thing or a couple things that like you hear it and it just like lets you know that everything's okay? Like it confirms your love for music.
Ooh. Man, that's a good question.
I just feel, and I mean, like, it could be so many things, but I feel like there's things like that, like Round Here, or Brothers on a Hotel Bed, or like another weird one for me, is the song "If I Had $1 Million" by the Bare Naked Ladies.
Yeah,
that song makes me so happy. I have no idea why. I don't know if it's the melody, the lyrics, but yeah, it just makes me unbelievably happy and like reconfirms my love for music.
Dude, that's awesome. Let's see.
Hello, Instagram Live. Who said hello? Annika did.
Oh, hi, Annika.
And someone said, I love you, David. Let's see. Oh, I do too, David. Oh, yeah. Sabrina loves you.
Oh, nice. Oh, thanks, Sabrina.
And your pea coat. They like your pea coat.
Oh, thank you. Annika likes it too. I do too.
Yes. It's a nice pea coat.
$150. It was on sale on Black Friday at JCPenney.
Damn.
I know. Got it for $50.
That's a new thing. Like your style has definitely gone from the
homeless chic.
Yeah, the shorts and the winter jacket to pea coat.
Yeah.
And you started wearing skinny jeans at our shows now.
I've got one pair.
You got some good style.
I know, it's coming along.
Can I call you Dave?
I don't mind it as long as ooh.
You're not a Dave.
No, I feel like it's only like a title that you achieve when you get like older, like past like 26.
Okay.
Like that's kind of my take on it.
I believe it. I probably still won't call you Dave, but
fair. Okay, I think I know my first one.
Okay.
The very beginning of Dave Matthews' Crash.
Yeah.
When it's got the guitar going, it's got that little bass groove.
The cymbals.
Yep. It's perfect.
What's his name? The drummer?
Carter Beauford.
Yeah, Carter Beauford's cymbal work.
I know.
Is incredible, especially the way he like works with splash cymbals.
Yeah.
Like he was the reason I actually got a splash cymbal, which I don't set up anymore.
Yeah.
Because like I'm not playing drums all the time, but a splash is definitely like if you want to have those little intricate, unique things, get a splash cymbal for sure. Because I love it. I've used it in every recording I ever did playing drums.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So,
but yeah, like this, like the intro, and then like the roll going into like the first verse, like it's just beautiful.
It's amazing.
Just love it. And I think I first heard it when I was like 14 or 15, and like I remember the time that song was pretty edgy for a 14 or 15-year-old just due to the subject content.
What does he say? Hike up your skirt a little more and show your world to me.
It's not subtle.
Do you think back then it was a world with more shrubbery, or do you think it was a more flat surfaced world? Sorry. These are the things I think about. You know, what was the world like back then?
I'm sorry, Mom.
And you, oh yeah, dude, I forgot your mom followed the
She'll
podcast.
probably listen to it.
You know what, Mary? This is my fault. David is still innocent and a beautiful young man. That's my fault. It's the tattoos and the gauges and
Yeah, I'm trying to convert him, but it just won't happen.
I got a thick skull, dude. I got a thick fucking noggin. So Crash, are there any others that just like, are there any songs or parts of songs that you can think of that just like give you chills?
Yes, there are quite a few actually. One of them we did already actually talk about was King Park. Like,
Yeah.
because I first heard that song probably like I'm 24 now, so it's probably like 17 or 19 somewhere.
I
in
thought
that.
we were 25.
I'm 24 still. I'll be 25 in April.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So I was probably like 17 or like either still like just about to exit high school or something like that.
Yeah.
And so it was probably 4 or 6 years ago, somewhere on that line. And I still hear that song, still get chills, like just still, like doesn't go away.
Yeah. Makes the hair on your neck stand
It
up.
does. Like it's just there's just something very powerful about it. Like after like the whole like, will I still get into heaven if I kill myself? Like that whole part. And then like when he's talking like the cops through the door.
Yeah.
Just trying to like rationalize, and they're like, you can still like come back from this, like you can make your peace with the world, like you can fix it. And like this guy is just so distraught that like the only way that he can think of to fix it is to kill himself. And the fact that he's only like 20.
Yeah. And you know what just popped into my head is like, you've heard that song, I've heard that song.
Yeah.
But the hotel room that he's held up in, I have a picture in my head of what it looks like. And you probably have a picture, like even the neighborhood. Like he says the South Side.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's like talking about Chicago, because like that's where they really say South Side a lot. Like they talk about the South Side of Chicago. But like I even like have a picture in my head of the neighborhood, what it looks like, the hotel that they're in. You know, like what his uncle looks like.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing. It says his uncle begging and pleading.
Yeah.
But yeah, another cool thing about music. But yeah, the thing about that like last 30 seconds or whatever is it's just the guitar playing one note. Like,
it's just very like intense. Like it becomes very like, I don't know, like it's just so like grinding, like it's just very like focused and it's very attacked. It's very piercing. I think it's kind of a good way to put it. So definitely that song, "Crash" by Dave Matthews. Tied up in the way I like to be.
You know what a dirty song is? "Semi-Charmed Life."
Ooh, I can see it. Yeah,
that song has some little innuendos in it.
Yeah.
He says something like "turn around, belly face down on the mattress" or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of songs like that.
Ooh, and I think the final one, I hope this doesn't sound like too pop punk of me, but when I was probably like 13 or 14, before I used to go to soccer practice.
You played soccer?
Kinda. It was like with like a bunch of like other homeschool kids, and they would play.
Did your parents make you do it, or you wanted to do it?
I wanted to do it. Like I like playing soccer.
Because I could see like if your parents had made you play a sport you didn't want to, and you just like standing in the outfield, just like,
no,
fucking go.
I feel like I actually like got pulled from a game because I got like too aggressive, which I think is kind of
really.
I know. I mean, it was more of
Damn. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like a weird like mix of like kids and like adults playing.
I bet if someone came up to you and like started fucking with you while you were playing drums, you could probably get aggressive with them.
Yeah, maybe. Like I feel like
if we were at a show and someone came up and like started pushing you and fucking with you, I feel like you could lose it.
I feel like it's more like if I'm about to like be hurt or something like that.
Oh,
like, I was at like a show. Well, I was actually at Bring Me the Horizon show like last week. And I thought that like it would be like a little bit like chiller now that they've changed their sound. No. Like at one
was
point,
it like push pits?
Yeah. So which are already kind of like I was hot, annoying. I was sweaty and just kind of irritated. So one point, like some guy like had like his elbow in like my like rib cage.
Mm.
I remember just feeling like so frustrated. I'm like, I'm gonna hit this guy, and I'm at a show, so it'll be appropriate. And I'm like, hold on,
Yeah.
would you do this in real life? Would you? I'm like, no. What are you angry about? Like, it's hot. I'm mad.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, calm down. Just move. So like that's probably about the only time, but like it does come out every once in a while. But anyway, back to soccer
As long as
practice.
it's not here.
No, never.
Anyway, soccer practice.
I used to listen to Blink 182's Feeling This before I'd go to soccer practice to get hyped.
Okay.
So the part where it cuts out and it's just Tom singing, they're like, sure.
Oh yeah, in the super long room.
Yeah.
That they recorded in.
And like
yeah.
I just love that part.
I used to love that part.
Like it just gets me, and it still gets me.
You know what gets me is the 808s in it because I listened to that song for so long
Yeah.
with shitty headphones.
Okay. Yep.
And then like when I finally got a car and listened to it and heard the 808 at the start of the choruses,
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just certain songs that give you those feelings, and like maybe there's people on this planet who also get those same feelings. Like
Right.
King Park is probably like more people probably get that.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's interesting. Like some of them are like connotated with like just growing up, or like
Yeah,
just like
significant moments.
Yeah,
and-
or just like
yeah.
just getting older, like experiencing like new emotions, new feelings, and like just starting to
Yeah.
experience the world differently.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I mean, there's something that Don't Look Back in Anger does for me.
Right?
And especially like, have you ever had that with live versions of songs? Like you watch a live version,
Oh,
like
yeah.
you hear the crowd like deafeningly just like singing back to them, and it just like, oof.
I think there's one like video floating around up there over like I think it's Noel Gallagher, and he's like fine. Wait, Noel's the one that's
Yeah.
still doing it. Okay, yeah.
And he's playing Don't Look Back in Anger,
Yeah,
and
he just stops it, and the whole crowd's singing back.
It looks like he's about to cry in the
I
video.
think he was
too.
actually
like,
crying.
He just
lost it.
I mean, could you imagine these
Yeah.
words that you scribbled down and recorded into a microphone? And like that song became like a huge deal for Manchester because like after the Manchester bombings, like they had some kind of like gathering or whatever to honor all those people. And everybody who was there started singing that song. Like it's a monumental song for people in Manchester. And like there's a video of the guy from Coldplay and Ariana Grande singing it. Like it's a big fucking deal there.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy is I was also watching a video from 2008 or 2009 of Oasis. It was like one of their last stadium shows.
Okay.
And they're playing Morning Glory, the title track, and it just like I'm sure for them on stage you could probably barely hear Liam singing.
Right.
Like the whole crowd is just it just gives me goosebumps to watch.
Yeah.
I know that's gonna be us one day. I'm probably gonna have a Dave Grohl moment. I don't know if you've watched the Foo Fighters documentary.
I have. Yeah.
When they play Wembley and he starts crying.
Yeah.
When we get to that moment, I'm gonna fucking lose it.
No, that's a good documentary. I've watched that one too.
Yeah, that's an amazing documentary. Back and forth.
Yeah.
There's some good ones on YouTube, but there's some really not good ones too.
This is what I made with iMovie and my camera and some slides I found on the internet. And
you know which one surprised me was the Eagles.
Really?
That one wasn't bad.
Huh.
Another one of my favorites on there is It Might Get Loud with Jack White, The Edge, and
Jimmy Page.
Yeah, that's right.
That is a good one as well. I saw that long time ago, but it did stick with me. That's a brilliant one.
Yeah. Jack White is a lot smarter than people give him credit for sure. Like at first glance, some of his songs might seem a little weird, like everything past like Steady As She Goes was the Racketeers, right?
Yes, that was right.
And then like Seven Nation Army, like, okay,
Yeah.
and then you get like Icky Thump.
Yeah.
I feel like bridges that gap between like the mainstream hits and like some of the more thought out stuff. And like,
Yeah.
he was another one of those dudes, super influenced by Muddy Waters. And
I can see it. Yeah.
it's, and I really had no appreciation for the blues until I started like getting super into John Mayer. And it seems like all these amazing guitar players that I find fascinating have that root in blues. And then, last year when I was taking guitar lessons, I started playing the blues scales. Like he taught me scales in the blues keys or whatever. And it definitely opened up my world to hearing like different things and finger placement and just really jamming out on the guitar.
Yeah.
There's something that the blues is definitely, it progresses you as a guitar player for sure.
I think so. And I think there's something very very like soulful to it too. I mean, obviously like everyone knows that blues is soulful.
Very
but, like,
honest.
It echoes pain. Like, and I think like, but I mean, I feel like a lot of people say that, but like when you listen to it, like it echoes pain. Like you have to be in a certain like state of mind in a certain heart place to be able to communicate those kind of emotions without coming off as like campy or like. 'Cause I feel like honestly, like people can tell when you're full of it.
Oh, for sure.
So like, in order for you to be that legendary, that we're still talking about Muddy Waters and Robert Johnson, 80s, and
even though we're not even like huge fans,
no,
but we know who they are.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it comes from an honest place. Just like, I feel like a lot of the bands that you and I both love, they come from like an honest place, not like an, algorithm state of mind where they know, okay, well, people really like this key. They really like when I throw a couple nanas in here and this and this and this. You know what I mean? You're not like trying to cater to anybody else.
No, you're just trying to make your own organic art. I think that's honestly like what people respond to. Yeah, it's like what they connect with. Like that's what they listen to when they're getting on the bus in the morning.
Yeah,
like you as a musician and as like performers and artists and whatever you want to call it, like you have the opportunity to like be part of someone's life.
Yeah.
And I think that's like honestly like one of the coolest parts of being able to like create.
Yeah. Well, and I think the most important thing that comes out of that is, I'm sure you've heard songs like this, but when you hear a song and you go, oh my God, I'm not the only person feeling this way.
Yeah.
Like when people can resonate with that, it does something. Like music, that's what music is for. Mm-hmm. And I mean, whether it's on a surface level and you're connecting with shit on the radio, if you connect with Lil Pump and he's speaking your fucking lingo, more power to you. But it's not for me, man.
Don't kick me out of the band. I'm gonna premise this.
I'm looking at both YouTube Live and Instagram Live. Here we go.
I have started to verge or delve into the world of...
Say it loud. Say it a little louder. Let everybody know, loud and proud. If you're going to commit to this, you better fucking say it.
I will, actually. All right.
Okay.
I've been starting to delve into kind of the world of emo rap.
Okay.
So not like...
I did notice you mentioned Lil Aaron the other day.
More of like a passing comment. But like, I think it's interesting how hip hop is starting to adopt elements of pop punk from like the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's more of like an interesting like musical trend.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm okay. I'm not embarrassed about this anymore. Okay, okay.
Shouldn't be.
Yeah, should have been in the first place. Anyway,
I've become more understanding about other people listening to music that I don't like, or that I'm not 100% into. I can admit that Juice WRLD.
Yeah, that's what I've been.
He has some good shit, and he can sing.
I think that's honestly like, because I was kind of on the fence
mm-hmm.
when I started listening to Juice WRLD. I was like, okay.
Yeah, Black and White is a phenomenal song.
And even Logic and that kind of thing too. It's kind of what kind of kicked it off for me. But I think it's been interesting how the kind of the pop punk movement, of like the 2000s, mid 2000s has kind of been translating into like over into hip hop,
Yeah.
and how artists are kind of starting to draw from like that inspiration.
Yeah. Well, because they're all kids that grew up listening to
Yeah.
emo bands. I actually watched a video on YouTube. I don't know if you've seen it, but they talk about that's what killed or what's killing pop punk.
And like Warped Tour.
Is like all the kids growing up who would listen to pop punk are like experiencing the emo rap first and like going in that direction.
Like I think like hip hop is kind of becoming like the new form of like pop punk. I think that's kind of why Warped Tour died out.
Yeah. Well, definitely the SoundCloud rap, because I mean you have your mainstream hip hop, but SoundCloud rap like has that title to it.
Yeah.
Which almost is like the same as like, not the same musically, obviously, but like indie rock.
Exactly.
When you label something indie rock, there's a type of people who go for it, and there's type of people who go, oh, you mean not my kind of music? Okay.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it is. Like it's SoundCloud rap. It's not going to be, you know, a lot of those artists you're probably not going to hear on the radio unless they do a collaboration with somebody. But yeah, I think you're totally right about that.
Yeah, so it's kind of in the next like musical pool I'm kind of like hoping to get into. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Wish me luck.
It's different, you know, and I respect if that's the direction it pulls you in. You know, I really can't talk shit after the whole Grateful Dead thing. I really had to reevaluate my opinions on, you know, people and what they listen to. So yeah, I've gone a long way.
Oh, yeah.
But kind of tell the people, talk to them about what it's like playing drums in a band where the songwriter or person you're playing in a band with is also a drummer. What is that like?
Ooh, that's an interesting question.
Because at first it was nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
I bet.
I would say it has a little bit of a learning curve to it, because when I first started playing Backseaters kind of songs, it's kind of like trying to learn how someone's brain works to a degree.
Yeah.
So like,
and the difference is you had the brain in the room.
Yeah, and then like having to like show it to the actual brain that made it. It's like, is this kind of what you were going for?
That's like the ultimate second guess.
Yeah, exactly. So that took it kind of took me a while to get used to.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't really like an easy process, and just like trying to be like respectful of like what the person has like created before you, and like truly trying to keep true to that material and how like it was supposed to be written. Like that's with any like pre Backseaters song, like especially like the first EP and that kind of thing. I really tried my best, and still currently do try to kind of fit what you're trying to do, and like how the structure of the song is supposed to work.
Yeah.
And but it wasn't easy initially. Like I'll be honest, like it kind of took me a while. But I think kind of the main thing I've really taken away from it that I kind of went with I came in at the start of was to always like respect like the source material, and I take that everywhere I go now. Like whether it's like covering for like another band, or it's like playing with someone else, or someone wants you to learn some songs for something.
I didn't know that you thought about it like that. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like you always respect the source material. Like that's someone's work that they put time into. So if you come in there and you just kind of like all over it,
yeah, like or say no, what you did wasn't good enough. Here's how we're gonna do it.
Yeah, like it's disrespectful to the writer, like the person that made it. And like I think as I've learned kind of going on, like it's important to like.
You just gained 10 respect points, bro.
Aw, thanks, dude.
Just kidding. You already have infinity points.
But as far as like, especially like with older songs like Limbo that like we still like play a lot, I think that's kind of the only one that was like that like predated me like joining the band that we still play.
Yeah, I mean I had written that probably like just before you started.
Gotcha. So like even like that song, like I honestly like it's still like even like the kick pattern is mostly the same, like but like obviously like it's kind of like baking. Like someone has like an original recipe, and like when you cook it the first time, like you should really try to follow the recipe book. Like,
Yeah, and then once you do it enough times, you go, oh well,
some
you know.
paprika would be good here, but like you're still keeping the original recipe.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of
Damn, I didn't know you thought about it like that.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was I know we've talked about it, but that was definitely a learning curve for me too. When
Yeah.
you joined was, I had most of this, or well, I had written all of the songs for the album on my own.
Yeah.
And then it was like, this was my baby. This was the thing I built from the ground up. And like, it was hard for me. And I know this sounds shitty, but it was like really hard for me to share it. And I just had to keep reminding myself what it was like playing in bands with, people who didn't necessarily like my creative input.
Yeah.
But I had to learn to share them and, not just be overpowering on what it was going to sound like.
Yeah.
And like, once I got over that, I feel like that's when everything like really, because now, I mean, I'll do a demo and it's almost like I'm super fucking lazy about it because I'll just do the easiest like drum pattern because I go, David will figure out something cooler.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the bass, I'm not the best at bass, so I just lay down something so I can listen to the demo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have full faith, whether you have faith in yourself, I have full faith in you to write something amazing.
Oh,
you and Colton plus Chris. Just kidding. Fuck.
Ooh, like it's kind of like
we love you, Chris. Okay, just because this is on the podcast doesn't change anything.
Yeah, we do. It's kind of like if someone asked me to fill in for their metalcore band, I'd say no. Like I can't play.
Colorado local is watching.
Like my feet can't go that fast, so like it'd be disrespectful to you and to your time for
Mm-hmm.
me to putz through your set.
Yeah,
because I can't play.
Well, yeah, one thing that I do in a lot of my songs is the playing the hi-hat, and then I do the something like that. And for the longest time I could tell that you were really trying to like learn and like do that exactly like how I did it, but it's just everybody has their own flavor, you take the beat and you make it your own, like what you did with the Phantom bridge. Like I think I had like a rough idea for that, but you like expanded on it with the rim and like everything like that. And I don't know, I'm super comfortable and like happy with how things are. I don't second guess anything like other than my writing ability, but like sometimes I just got to remind myself, when I do play it lazy doing the bass and the drums, that like you guys are going to come in and make it 10 times better.
Oh, thank you.
So I can admit it now. For some reason I was a hard-headed piece of shit back in the day, but yeah, it's crazy looking back at all that. And I mean, how much I've grown probably the most in this band, and I'm playing like the instrument that's not native to me, because I am a drummer, but just like as far as band dynamics and communicating, like
it's gotten infinitely better. Like,
yeah,
just the one thing I'm trying to start to like learn better is like not to like take anything like personal, or like even if like I feel like shitty about something, I'll just be like, all right, just
well, that's something we had to get past too, was criticism or just like little things here and there, like you would take it personally before, but really I was just like saying, oh no, it goes like this, you know what I mean, just to like help you, but you like damaged me, so like now I just want to like figure it out, and then when I say something, I don't want to sound like the dictator like telling you what to do.
No. Like, I think it's, also the other thing that's been cool about this band that I feel like not a lot of people talk about is like, I feel like it's a really good outlet for like, just like growing as a person. Like obviously like there's stuff that you learn just through like playing music and playing with other people that are just like
Mhm.
practical musical skills.
Yeah,
There's also just a lot of like human development that goes on as well.
we make
Like,
babies.
I, something. Like being in a band is kind of like being in a I mean, honestly, it is being in a relationship.
For sure. Yeah,
So-
because if you don't communicate, that's a big thing for bands coming up, or even bands right now. Like if you're having a hard time, you can't figure out what's wrong with your guys' vibe, have a band meeting.
Yeah.
See how everyone's feeling. Because like you might get together and one guy might be like, yo, I've been thinking about quitting forever. Or like, somebody might feel like their ideas are suppressed, or
And like even though these meetings may be like uncomfortable, like in the end, like they're healthy. Like
have a talking stick. The last one we had a drumstick and we passed it to whoever was talking.
or like just I think just like even if like you meet at like a place that's like outside of like anything like band related, like go get coffee
Yeah.
or something, just so that you just feel
That
like,
also helps as well, because
Yeah.
then there's like no emotional attachment. You're like
yeah
meeting as like friends.
yeah and like as people, like there's no backdrop, like it's just like you as people.
Yeah.
And I think that's honestly like what it comes down to a lot more. Like
Mhm.
any person that you see in a band, like whether it be big or whether it be small, like they're still just people. Like
Yeah.
they're not any better than you, like just because they're in a bigger band or they have more money, like it doesn't matter. Like they're still
Yeah.
people.
I don't know. I used to think about that a lot, but one thing that I've really had stuck in my head lately
Yeah.
is I think a big problem with like a lot of problems in the world stem from comparisons.
Oh, most definitely.
People comparing like their bodies to other people's bodies, or their music, or their status, or like I've just been noticing how toxic comparisons are.
Yeah.
And like even if you're not going like, oh, I wish my body looked like his body, you're even if you're the person who has the good body and you're like, oh, look, that person has a terrible body, they're in terrible shape, like you're still putting bad energy out and
Yeah.
giving yourself a negative mindset, whether it's like disguises itself as like something positive because you're like saying something nice about yourself inadvertently because you're saying somebody else looks like shit. Like it just comparisons. Like I've had it stuck in my head for probably a week now. I just can't stop thinking about how like, oh, this problem stems from this person comparing themselves to this. Like self-confidence. It's a big thing, and social media has a lot
Most
to do with
definitely.
that.
Like it's kind of I actually stopped using Instagram for like a week or so. I'm like, let's see if it really changes anything. And like I kind of just took it off for a week, didn't really mess
I'm
with it.
addicted to Instagram.
I know. Me
Like
too.
that's my one. Like Facebook is like second, but like Instagram.
Yeah. And then once like you kind of start viewing it as like more of like a tool rather than just like here's a website where I can look at 25 people that are better than me at something.
Yeah.
Like once you start like using it as more of like a tool for like inspiration, or like even just wanting to like put like your own stuff out there, like even although I'm guilty of this, I don't ever post anything on Instagram, but like
we're gonna get better.
We're gonna get better at this. It's
it was in the meeting.
So anyway, so using Instagram, but trying to use it as more of like a tool to like advance like your own career and use it as kind of like a tracker of progress. I think it's a lot more productive than just being like I suck.
Yeah, I mean I try to do that more.
Yeah.
Whereas like, see what people are doing, like look at the stories and like, check out some people's posts, but like I will find myself just wasting so much time just scrolling through Instagram. Whereas like I need to be letting people know that we play in the best band in the universe.
Yes. Ooh, it's official.
It's official. I think I said it on a podcast before, but let this be known as two members of the Backseaters are here right now, that the Backseaters are the best band in the universe. Aliens can suck it. And this next EP is going to dominate It's going to be Wild Stallions level. Anybody who's seen Bill and Ted knows what I'm talking about. It will bring world peace. It will keep people from comparing things to things. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited.
Yes. You're excited about the new songs?
I am actually.
What are your goals, or what are you excited for in the future? Like coming up, like what are you looking forward to?
Thing I'm actively looking forward to is one thing I find that the more I've been like playing like with other people and with bands and with the Backseaters and that kind of thing, is I love the recording process.
Oh my god, it's amazing.
I love it. Like
Me too.
Like I know like some people say like, well, my favorite part is playing live, and like that's great too. Like I love that too.
Playing live.
But like there's something about the recording process that I love, because I think there's this idea that like you're like actively creating something and you can hold it in your hand and you can give it to other people. It's kind of like painting, but like with sound.
Yeah. Well, and it's definitely like addicting the first time you go to like a more professional studio.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, I don't know, it's laid out. It sounds good right after you track it.
Right.
There's just something about it. But yeah, I love the recording process. And like I've tried so hard for so long to be a session drummer.
Yeah.
Like I would love to just be the on-call drummer that somebody goes, hey, I got this person here, they're recording an EP, they need a drummer. Can you come down and lay down some drum tracks? Like I would love that, just because I love recording drums.
Yeah.
I think I love recording drums, and like I love playing drums live, but I also love playing guitar live more than I love playing guitar on a recording.
Gotcha.
Because like they're different kinds of energies. When I'm playing guitar live, like it's live.
Yeah.
But on a recording, like I'm trying to layer things and make it ambient, and I don't know. But yeah, the recording process is amazing. What's one tip if you could give a band recording or about to record?
Ooh, come prepared. Come prepared.
And accept the fact that even if you think you're prepared, that you might have missed some things, and your producer will help you out.
Yeah. And also the other thing is, I mean, obviously, like if you have like time constraints, then like use them appropriately.
Yes.
But like also feel free to, like, if you don't feel entirely happy with it, do it again. Because like that's going to be the only time for the most part that you get to record that thing.
Well, yeah, and don't worry that you're like wasting the producer's time, or like you're paying them.
Yeah. Like
and at the end of the day, this is your product.
Exactly. So like even if you're like, I know I can make this part better, or I want to experiment with this part, like feel free to do that. Like don't be scared that you're going to be wasting someone's time, or it has to be perfect the first time. Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
Take your time with it. Experiment with it. Make it so that you are happy with it when you go to bed at night.
Well, yeah, and when Taylor was on the podcast, we talked about the fact that like make a record that you're still going to love a year from when you put it out, instead of, handing it to somebody and being like, hey, here's our EP. On track 2, I meant to do this drum fill and I didn't do it. Or, just feeling like it wasn't everything that you wanted it to be. Like on the Phantom EP, there's nothing that I feel like I left out.
Ooh, there is one thing that bugs me about it.
Is it where you put your sticks down at the end of Wander?
It's actually not that part.
Next time, fucking put them in your mouth. Just kidding.
Hypothetically, that was Taylor's fault, not mine.
Does that song start with stick clicks? Because I was thinking about it today. If it starts, no, it doesn't. It starts with me on guitar. Yeah. Never mind.
But
sorry.
Ooh, all right. I'm not going to mention the exact moment. However, when we recorded "Found," which is the third track on the EP,
which is the song you decided we're going to play at the end of this podcast.
I did actually. Okay. And the reason I chose it is because it was the first time I'd ever recorded anything without any scratch tracks.
Oh yeah, because I fucked it up really bad.
So yeah, I remember I just told Taylor, I'm like, all right, just take them out. I'll just do the whole thing. And Yeah, and there's actually, but there's one oops on it. And I feel bad I didn't catch it before, but I only caught it.
Hold on. Do
Yeah.
you really want to put this out? Because everyone's going to look for it and everyone's going to hear it every time they hear that song now.
Ooh, see, I don't know. I don't mind being honest, but like, no, that's a good point though. Can we edit this, or is it too late? It's too late, isn't it?
Yeah, we can't edit it, but like the exact moment.
Gotcha.
You don't
See,
have
I'm
to
not,
say the
I'm
exact
not saying the exact moment.
Okay.
Like, yeah, but there is an oops on it.
Because that might be something, if you said it, I'd hear it every time and wince.
Yep. No, I'm not going to say where it is.
Okay. Fuck no. I'm not going to listen for it. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing about playing live too. A tip for bands playing shows, or even if you've been playing shows for a long time, if you fuck up 95% of the time, the people listening to you don't know that you fucked up. So don't let it ruin your whole show.
Yeah. Or like hypothetically, there might not actually be anything wrong with Found. So maybe it's a mind twister or a mind.
It might be one of those things that I think is unique and cool, but you view it as a mess up, like the way I view your drumming, style.
That actually, yeah, that could be it. Honestly, that's probably why no one's ever noticed it. It's probably just me.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely leave the door wide open with your drum parts to, have little things.
Yeah.
And do you play it that way live?
No.
No, you don't.
Well, no. Well,
you never do the little slip live.
Which, actually, no, I don't.
Okay. Yeah, because I used to do that. Like when I recorded drums, if I like did something off accidentally, like I'd just start doing it live.
Ooh, but see, like here's the thing, like it bugs me because I know that I did it, but like anyone else that's listening to it is never gonna.
I've never heard a problem with it.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So in that case, it's officially just a David problem. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you where it is though.
I think that's for the best.
Fair. Well, if the fact that even Taylor didn't catch it, Colt didn't catch it, you didn't catch it, that means it's strictly a David problem.
That means it doesn't exist. Let it go.
Exactly.
But you hear it every time you listen to it. It's the worst, man. But now you know for next time.
Yeah. But yeah, come prepared. Take your time. It's okay. You're paying them thousands of dollars to do what they're doing.
And accept that you are going to grow. If you're not hard-headed and stubborn, you're going to learn something.
Yeah.
And if you go in believing that you're good enough, you're not going to learn anything, your record's probably not going to be that good. Just saying. I know that's kind of a cocky thing to say, but yeah. Damn, we covered a lot of shit.
We did. I'm kind of surprised 2 hours has gone by so fast.
The thing about it is, and we're definitely going to have to do more podcasts, but there's, 3 years, 4 years of material.
Yeah, there's quite a bit
that we have to cover that we've been playing together. So, let's just accept the fact that there's going to be many more episodes. I definitely want to get all 4 of us on here. I think that'd be a hoot. Any more tips that you have for people?
Overthink it, but to an appropriate amount.
Don't let it kill you.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, thank you for coming on my podcast.
Yeah.
Even if it was 25 episodes in. I feel like I said, it took the right amount of time because I got to learn how to do this, get my feet under me, because I knew that you and I were going to have to go deep on this conversation. So
is this the 26th? Or is
this is 25.
Oh, that's like a solid number though.
Yeah, a quarter of 100. Right on. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on once again.
Of course, we'll definitely do it again.
All right.
Episode number 25 of the Don't Start a Band podcast, and you are going to be listening to Found by the Backseaters. And we're done. I always do that.
Are we getting together on Wednesday?
The little moment of silence. Thank you to everybody on Instagram Live who watched. Adios. Post that. All right. Thank you to everybody on YouTube. Love you. Bye. The episode will be up soon on iTunes and Google Play.